Formula One is accustomed to seeing big changes in the driver market during the silly season, when startling occurrences cause a domino effect everywhere amongst the grid. Consider how Sebastian Vettel's decision to retire before the summer break triggered a series of events that resulted in Fernando Alonso at Aston Martin, Pierre Gasly at Alpine, and Nyck de Vries at AlphaTauri, not to mention Oscar Piastri's move to McLaren. It's considerably more unusual for this type of insane merry-go-round to include Formula One team principals, to the extent that it did this week. There have been some crazy changes happening. Today, we're going to find out who replaces who, and why some team bosses left their former jobs. While senior management turnover is regular in Formula One, as demonstrated by Otmar Safnauer's departure from Aston Martin to Alpine last winter, the fact that 4 teams will have new team bosses next season is unusual. In fact, it's difficult to recall a more bizarre day than today, when Ferrari's confirmation of a new team principal in Fred Vasseur was overshadowed by McLaren's unexpected loss of Andrea Seidl and promotion of Andre Stella to replace him. While the changes at Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, McLaren and Williams this week are all the result of slightly different circumstances, there is one common aspect that links them. In F1's cost-cutting era, the buck stops with the team boss more than ever before. There was a time not long ago when one of the team principal's primary tasks was to go to the firm board or parent car manufacturer and try to extract the funds needed to get the job done properly. And if the goal is to climb up the grid, reverse a prospective fall, or correct a car idea error, the best way to get things straight was to request another check so that a team could spend its way to improve performance. Those days, however, are long gone. F1 is no longer a spending race where mistakes can be covered up with extra cash now that the budget cap is in place. What matters now is efficiency, discipline, having a proper plan in place, and above all, being clever. Finite budgets that are identical up and down the grid eliminate the ability to hide behind the justification that competitors are only doing better because they have larger resources. Everyone now has the same, so screw it up and it's entirely your fault. In today's Formula One universe, team principals bear greater responsibility than ever for whether or not goals are met. In the instance of Jost Capito, Williams had not made the progress that owner Doralton Capital had expected under F1's new rules regime, so the decision was made not to continue with him and his tech signing, FX de Maison. Mattia Binotto resigned when Ferrari chairman John Elkann and CEO Benedetto Vigna lost faith in him, believing that Maranello had not accomplished everything that it should have during the 2022 campaign. The pattern from Ferrari in hiring Vasseur and Sauber in hiring Seidl is to hire top management people who understand what's needed with this cost-cutting approach. Performance these days does not come from bringing a front-wing upgrade to every race, since the money just does not exist within the restricted budget ceiling to allow for that. Instead, progress entails doing better in areas where gains must be obtained for free. You must understand where staffing levels and appointments should be directed to get the most bang for your buck from every member of the organization. To ensure that any spending is 100% directed at driving car performance and not wasted, you must fully comprehend the rules and exemptions. You must ensure that you have the best of everything at all levels, from the designer who creates car concepts on a computer screen to the pit crew changing wheels on race day. Because there is no longer any redundancy in the system to cover for shortcomings, each individual must pull their weight at every stage of the journey. That is why team leaders must be motivators and assist and propel their team ahead. They must guarantee that their personnel fully believe in what they're doing and the adventures they are embarking on. The timing of renovations to find the sweet spot is also critical. You don't want to be too aggressive with your upgrades early in the season, just to find yourself without anything once the money runs out. Similarly, if you come too early and leave the developments for later in the season, you risk being left behind. Instead, you must get everything absolutely right. All of these things that only a savvy and experienced team principal who knows the system and has lived and breathed it can be expected to get right away. It's probably not a coincidence that McLaren, under Seidl, launched a recruitment drive at the conclusion of last year, since it knew there were areas of spending it could cut now that it knew how things operated best within the cost cap. As Seidl said at the Abu Dhabi GP, "That's why we've put in a lot of hard work, also together with the financial department, knowing that we're working in a cost cap environment as well, to find synergies and efficiencies within the current way how we do F1. That has allowed us now to start, pretty much 2 months ago, quite a significant campaign of hiring more engineers to simply have more people available in order to be able, in the future, to do things more in parallel. This cost-cutting change of attitude, as well as the necessity for experienced, dependable and savvy hands that can produce, has put team principals in the limelight like never before. Such increased power comes with increased responsibility, which means more glory when things go well, but also puts you right in the firing line when they don't. But are all the shuffles in the paddock going to work? Let's dive into some details. Vasseur is a realist. He won't go into Ferrari expecting to snap his fingers and make it a success right away, but he will have a strong understanding of how he does and does not want things to work. This was evident when he joined Sauber as team principal in 2017. Within an hour of starting his new job, he'd already cancelled the engine deal Sauber had planned with Honda for 2018. He was sure that was the wrong way to go. Being so clinical in a team the size and magnitude of Ferrari may be a different proposition from what Vasseur ran at Sauber. Nonetheless, he's turned the team around, with the team finishing 6th in the championship this year, its highest finish under his leadership. The team's momentum has been favourable, thanks in large parts to Vasseur's influence. What about Andreas Seidl? Well, he'll take over as CEO at Sauber, meaning they'll still have to find another team boss to fill the open spot. As CEO, he'll oversee Sauber's technology division, as well as the F1 team's operations. As a result, the post constitutes a promotion rather than a step aside from McLaren. As for McLaren, Andrea Stella is promoted by McLaren. The Italian is no stranger to Formula 1, having previously worked as a performance engineer for Michael Schumacher and Kimi Raikkonen at Ferrari, before moving on to become a race engineer for the Finn and later Fernando Alonso. Stella joined the Spaniard at McLaren in 2015, where he worked as head of race operations, performance director, and most recently racing director. Stella has a wealth of F1 experience in numerous roles, but he's yet to demonstrate that he can also take on the role of team boss. Stella's place within the squad must also be relinquished by someone else. So the loss is significant for McLaren, and the question is how Lando Norris, who is under contract until 2025, thinks about it. Although he doesn't have experience in leading teams as a top man, he immediately saw room for improvement. In terms of areas of opportunity, I think we would definitely like to make a step forward in delivering a quick car. Some of the reasons why we haven't been able to do that so far, we know they are quite structural, the new McLaren team boss explained. Will these switches live up to the hype? And most importantly, can Vasseur and Stella bring glory to their new teams? What do you think? Will Ferrari be able to challenge for the championship next year under the leadership of Vasseur? And can McLaren finally challenge for podiums on a regular basis under the leadership of Stella? And will Seidl be able to turn Sauber/Audi into a midfield leading team in the coming years? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to discuss these major switches with you. That's all for today's video. Make sure you're subscribed to stay updated with the latest F1 news. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.